You know, I have next to nothing in common with President Barack Obama. A lot of people in this country persist in the delusion that this man is some sort of socialist. And even though most of us know that he is, of course, not a socialist, we forget that really he's not even a liberal. I mean, if you were to draw a line down the middle of the political spectrum and find a place for Barack Obama, it would be slightly to the right. His politics are a lot more in line with those of Bill Clinton than they are with those of Che Guevara or Hugo Chavez, say. You know, we didn't elect Fidel Castro. We just elected the black Bill Clinton. And you know, a few days ago, I made a video called What the Health, where I basically acted as though I were ignorant of what's going on with this healthcare reform debate. I'll be candid with you now, folks. My ignorance was exaggerated. I just wanted to see how people would explain it to me, how people on both sides would explain this healthcare bill is all a big plan to get the Illuminati to cultivate our children into mind control camps and blah blah blah. Kindergarten to high school graduation, everything in between is just a bunch of brainwashing nonsense. But it's not the conspiracy of the Illuminati, it's the conspiracy of the powerful corporations of the world who are training you for menial, pointless labor rather than inspiring you creatively. They're trying to create a generation of people who can stamp forms and say, "Have a nice day," with a big fake smile on their faces. But now I have a digression within a digression going on, and I guess I should return to what I was talking about initially. Barack Obama, the guy that I supported for president. The word coming out of the White House now is that a public option is not essential for this healthcare reform legislation that they're trying to get passed. For those of you who don't know, the public option was basically going to be the government setting up its own insurance company that wouldn't exclude anyone because of pre-existing conditions and would provide health insurance for people at a reasonable price, unlike, say, every insurance company in existence. Make no mistake, the insurance companies were afraid of having to compete with the public option because the second that Obama abandoned the public option, all of those health insurance stocks shot up. But you know what this goes to show? This goes to show that Obama is a pussy. Obama is weak, folks. You know, the one thing that I liked about this guy was that I thought he was strong enough to get something done. I don't agree with him ideologically, but at least he's left of where this far right-wing country is going. So I was thinking that maybe he could at least reset this country to 1996 to before the Bush era, and maybe we could try again. I thought Barack Obama was tough. That was the one thing I gave him. He stuck out the primaries. He beat Hillary Clinton, who was heavily favored to win. He beat John McCain handily. No matter what they threw at him, and they threw some crazy stuff his way, he didn't cave in. So I said, there's your president, there's a tough guy, but it turns out that he's just a weak, simpering little compromiser. When someone calls you a socialist and you're not a socialist, and they accuse you of wanting to kill people's grandparents and retard babies, then that's not a person you need to be reaching across the aisle to and saying, "Yes, my brother, let us compromise, let us work on this together." That's the kind of person that you need to be kicking in the nuts and saying, "I don't care what you think, I'm gonna do this anyway." But no. We have a sissy president. We have a president who lets these right-wing psychopaths walk all over him. George W. Bush had way less Republican support in the Senate than Barack Obama has Democratic support in the Senate, and George W. Bush still managed to pass all kinds of crazy legislation. You know, if you're a president and you have the majority of the Senate and the House of Representatives and you still can't manage to pass the bill that you want, then you're kind of pathetic. You know, to see him give up on the public option this easily just because some right-wingers had a hissy fit about it and made a picture of him looking like the Joker and made a picture of him looking like Hitler, and they talked about how one time in the UK someone had a heart attack and died and they weren't treated until 7 years later. You know, the doctors just dug up their corpse and said, you know, tried to fix him on the spot, but it was too late because it was 7 years later and he was already dead. That's how coverage is in the UK, and if you pass this bill, it'll be the same here. Ah! The sad thing is that we weren't even talking about universal health care. All we were talking about is health insurance reform, really. And we can't even do that. We can't even get health insurance reform, let alone universal health care. And it all just boils down to Obama being weak. He's a weak little sissy.